Joining us now to continue the conversation is Virginia Democratic Senator Tim Kaine. He is, of course, a member of the Budget Committee, which developed the proposed $3.5 trillion reconciliation infrastructure bill. Senator, it's great to have you back on the program. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Eamon.
Republican leader Mitch McConnell was asked about the reconciliation bill during an appearance on Fox News this morning, and I want to play for you and our viewers some of what he had to say about it. Listen.
It's an introduction of socialism into America, done on a one-party basis in a Congress that's virtually tied. You know, Senate's 50-50, the House has a couple of seat Democratic majority. They didn't get a mandate to do this stuff. They're not going to have any Republicans help them do this stuff. This is a left-wing dream of Bernie Sanders, fulfilled, they hope, on a very narrow vote with no room to spare, jam this down the throats of the American people.
I want to give you a chance to respond to that, sir. That's what Senator McConnell says about the reconciliation. What is your response, and what should Americans know about what will be in this legislation?
That was almost word for word what Republicans said about Social Security in the 1930s, and they tried to stop it. And yet what it did was it cut the elderly poverty rate from 50% to 10%. And his claim that reconciliation is wrong. Look, the Republicans, when they had a narrow majority, they used reconciliation to do tax cuts for the rich, and they used reconciliation to try to take health care away from 30 million people. Thank God we stopped them on that. Reconciliation is a tool. They can vote yes, they can vote no. But I feel really good about this hard work that we've done to put together a great package. Eamon, I could talk about a lot of pieces of it, but let me just talk about one that I just view as so powerful. This will be the biggest investment in America's children that we will have made in the history of the United States. When you combine the effects of the child tax credit, which is kicking in today and people are receiving support for children who live with them, with expanded child care funding and universal pre-K, and helping parents pay for their kids to go to college, this will be to children what Social Security was to seniors. And this is just one part of the bill. I think this is going to be enormously popular with Americans in every zip code in this country, Democrats, Republicans, Independents. And I'm so excited to be on the Budget Committee and having worked with my colleagues to craft a framework. We got a ways to go, but I'm feeling really excited about it.
Are you concerned about the price tag of this bill, and how do you convince Democrats, members of your own caucus, who may be a little bit skittish about the price tag?
You know, what I said going into this, Eamon, and I was sort of in a moderate position among the budget Dems. I had, folks to the left of me and at least one to the right of me and what the price tag should be. I said in the aftermath of a once-in-a-century pandemic that killed 600,000 people and that caused a mass catastrophe in the economy, we should go big rather than go small, but we should pay for it. The bipartisan infrastructure bill, I'm not sure it's going to be completely paid for because Republicans generally don't like pay-fors. But on the reconciliation bill, let's go big, but let's pay for it. And as we work this through, that's a commitment that we have, and I think we're going to be able to accomplish it. So as long as we pay for it, I feel like we ought to go big. This is still a moment where millions of people are not working who would want to be. People can't come back into the labor force. And we got to build an economy that is more sustainable, more equitable, and every bit as robust as the pre-pandemic economy.
Let's talk about voting rights for a moment, because it is another big issue that Democrats are focusing on. Your colleague, Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock, told Axios, quote, "We can walk and chew gum at the same time. Voting rights is bigger than the filibuster, and shame on us if we're more committed to a Senate rule than we are to the principles of democracy." You were also quoted in that article saying that you and some of your colleagues feel like you're on a mission after January the 6th. How do you go about accomplishing the mission of protecting voting rights in the midst of stiff Republican opposition who are not budging on it?
Eamon, first, Reverend Warnock's right. January 6th fundamentally changed the way we look at this issue, because the Trump big lie about the election being stolen that he perpetrated for months led to this violent attack. And the same big lie is motivating legislatures in states where Republicans control everything to try to take away people's voting rights. They may not be wearing Camp Auschwitz T-shirts and battering policemen, down with fence posts, but they're using the same big lie to try to curtail our democracy. And I'll tell you this: we all take this oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against enemies, foreign and domestic. In the past, that oath was never my job description. My job description was battling for Virginia and economic development and education. After January 6th, that oath is now my job description. And we have to, in order to fulfill that oath, protect people's rights to vote. So you're right. We've got all 50 Democrats on board with a very robust set of protections that include elements of the John Lewis Act and the For the People Act. But we don't have a single Republican who's with us, which is no surprise. They're not going to join with us. So I am talking to all of my colleagues, and I know Reverend Warnock and others are too, to say we've got to do this. The 2,000 senators in our history have been in this chamber, but only 100 were here when there was an attempt to attack it to stop the peaceful transfer of power. The weight of history is on our shoulders to try to defend this democracy, and voting rights is critical to that. So Joe Manchin has said he will not be in favor of getting rid of the filibuster. You don't have to get rid of the filibuster. There's all kinds of filibuster reforms that can be made that the Senate has been willing to make in the past, and we should be willing to make them now, because nothing in our oath talks about the filibuster. Our oath talks about defending the Constitution. We had an attack on it to overturn the peaceful transfer of power, and we have to respond.